Susul.
Hello and welcome to Under the Plumb Bob podcast, the show about everything related to the EA Maxis game called The Sims. My name is Melissa, and with me today are my co-hosts Rebecca and Jessica.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm the English person in this.
And we have our guest host, Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, how's it going?
Cool. So today we are going to dive right in and discuss the latest Maxis Monthly episode that was featured by the Sims developer team on their Twitch stream. This took place on November 6th, so we're lining this up right when you are poised and ready to purchase the new game pack, Get Famous. During this live stream, they went a little bit in detail about all the fun stuff we can look forward to. So if you haven't gone out and purchased this game already, here's a little bit of an overview of what you can expect, what we're hoping to see in the game. So first things first, what are your guys' thoughts on the pack in general? Rebecca, gauge your excitement for me, 1 to 10.
Very high, probably like 8, 9. Not quite seasons level, but actually, this might be controversial. Above Pets.
Very controversial. Okay, what do you think, Jess? Same thing?
Yeah. I'm actually still rocking Sims 3. I haven't had a chance to get Sims 4 yet, but looking at everything that's coming out in this pack, I really want to get Sims 4 now.
Nice. So do you have what's the famous equivalent in 3? I forget what it's called.
Late night.
Okay. So talk a little bit about, do you play with that now? Do you use any of the mechanics in your day-to-day gameplay? Do you have it?
Yeah, I do have it. And in a few of the games I play, I have the whole celebrity thing going on. And it's an interesting dynamic. It does kind of get in the way sometimes, so I turn it off most of my games. From what I've seen for The Sims 4, it seems like way more, I don't know how to explain it, just more involved, and that really is how I like to play.
Yeah.
It's more complex.
Yeah.
It's I know I've just re-downloaded Sims 3 and I'm slowly buying my way back through it because I've lost all my CDs and stuff.
Me too.
Yeah. So I'm kind of just buying first pack, second pack, so on. So Late Night is one of the ones that I have. But I am looking forward to the fact you can play it in all the worlds, unlike Sims 3 where you can play it in all the worlds, but it's really hard if you're not playing it in that specific world that came with it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because I know I made one and placed them in, I think, Sunset Valley, which is the original world. And really, I struggled to get above 2-3 stars because you only really have 1-star celebrities.
And I feel like, if I remember with Sims, it's if you talk to a celebrity once, even if you're playing a normal person and you have fame turned on still, it's you're a small town celebrity. It's I talked to one guy.
Yeah.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, I think my toddler had a star because her mum was famous. Purely just because her mum had 1 or 2 stars, she automatically got a star, which is insane.
It is. It's a little nuts. I think that the developers were really conscious about, those issues that were prevalent in Sims 3 when making this game pack, these new features. And during the stream, when they talked about it, they really kind of, spoke with care about, this is not just a fame contagion type of thing. It's not you look at a famous person and you get fame points. This is a really specific mechanic, and we're not going to dive too deep into it because that's for our post Get Famous purchase review that Team Cowplant will be conducting. So we're just going to hit the highlights here and talk about, for me, why I'm really excited about this mechanic. So first of all, the way to play through fame, to navigate, through the journey of fame, my first thought when I saw the stream is that they set it up a lot like vampires. And I haven't really played a vampire through very far, but the sort of skill and power building tree made sense to me. So I'm, I plan to go back to it. I'm stuck in a 100 baby challenge, which you'll hear about in an upcoming episode. Lots to talk about there. Oh yeah. But it's that sort of skill tree. Yeah. Don't do it. don't fall into our trap. What's cool is that it's sort of this grid, and you can use your fame points, which you will get, through various interactions, to buy perks. And based on your Sim's behavior, you will develop quirks. So it's sort of parts you can control and parts you can't control. Some of the behaviors that they talk about gaining you fame has to do with your public perception. So it's doing all of these things in public versus in private. You can build a skill in public. You can perform singing, dancing, DJing, all of those skills that, many that are in the base game already. If you perform them in public, you sort of gain fame. And I think it was, I forget which sim guru mentioned it on the stream, but fame begets fame. This concept of if you're already famous, you gain fame points more easily, which I think is pretty indicative of, if you talk about real life celebrity, the more famous you are, the more, buzz anything you do will get in any given day. When Rebecca, you were just talking about sort of a famous toddler. There is some skill points, there are some fame points that are automatically given to the child of famous Sims. But they did detail that you cannot get fame from the wishing well. And that when you interact with celebrities, it's not just sort of that like, I talk to you and suddenly I'm famous. It's certain interactions you have to be able to sort of pass their litmus test, so to speak, of, are you worthy of talking to me? If you are, then we can continue to speak with each other. Yeah,
it was quite easy in 3 to kind of get past that sort of, I'm a celebrity, actually. Especially with like the lower stars.
Yeah. Right. So it seems there's a little bit more skill on the player's part in building that fame. And they showed it sort of in action on the stream. It's a little like a star icon with your plus in the way that you can build relationship with your social interactions. There's like the little icon that comes up to indicate that you have gained some fame from that interaction. So I like the idea of perks. I think if you purchase the perks mindfully, you can kind of decide what kind of famous person you're going to be. Whereas the quirks are just sort of like a long-term moodlet, so to speak. They'll give you, emotional buffs and will influence how your sim does in the world of fame. A couple of highlights were mentioned. Juice enthusiast. So the sim will become very upset if they don't get their juice within a certain amount of time. I can relate.
But there's also several celebrities that can relate.
Right. Yeah. So very true to life. What do you guys think of the emotion bomb quirk? There's sort of like that idea that you get this pent up emotion and then it just explodes in a fit of rage or sadness or basically an emotional mental breakdown. What are your thoughts on that?
I think like I'm saying this as well from someone who's very up and down with mental health. I think it's very interesting, especially when you look at like celebrities, say like Britney Spears, Ben Affleck, Lindsay Lohan, and so on, where like obviously Britney Spears has been a lot more better for the last few years, but especially like Ben Affleck and Lindsay Lohan, it's so like up and down, and especially with others, I think it's very relatable to what probably does go on in that world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's relatable to what goes on in my world. I'll get to a certain point and lose my mind a little bit. And I'm also, someone outspoken about mental health. And it's not healthy to bottle up those emotions and then let them loose like that. But I think it's unfortunately a reality sometimes.
And I do like that aspect.
I think it's important that we can talk about it in this way, as well as kind of appreciate it for a game mechanic that it is and sort of how it adds to the story. because I'm sure it will be used somewhat comically, but at the same time, I can look at myself and go, wow, I really, lost my mind a while ago after, not appropriately handling my emotions. So
yeah, I'm bad enough after
all food for thought.
I'm bad enough after a few bad days, never mind having paparazzi follow you constantly.
So one more quirk they talk about is the fan mail and also the fan with quotes around it mail. So you get some kind letters from fans versus some not so kind messages and gifts. And we'll let you explore what those get to be on your own. But you can get some interesting mailbox interactions from the new pack.
That made me think.
Do you guys know?
That made me think of like Eminem's, music video for like Stan.
Yeah, do you guys know what Stan is?
Well, it's based on that. It's based on that song, actually, isn't it? Like the whole idea of Stan comes from that.
Yeah,
Eminem.
I've heard Stan. It's a combination stalker fan, right?
Yeah, which I think like he was the first person to use it in mainstream.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think that's quite interesting.
I thought it was just like born of Tumblr.
No, well before that.
Nifty.
Learn something new.
Yeah.
So I like that they've really thought consciously about that whole side of things. But what's also great is that there's not just fame, there's your reputation, which I think you can still have as a play aspect, even if you don't want to play with fame, if you want to turn off fame. And we'll get into how that can be done in a minute. But Rebecca, do you want to talk a little bit about reputation?
Yeah, which is you have the fan basis, but you also have reputation, which you can say with some celebrities these days does come hand in hand. Like you have some celebrities who probably are more famous from their reputation rather than any talent. And I'm going to say this is the Kardashians, even as someone who, if she's having a bad day, will watch the Kardashians. So I think that is quite an interesting thing to put in. But it's very much going to be on kind of your moral aspects of your sim. Kind of how does your sim treat other sims, and what do they do in the world almost to make it better, which is ironic because I'm loving The Good Place at the moment, which is very much about how your actions have an effect on everyone. But it's going to be positive to your reputation. If you donate to charity, do you clean up litter, trash? Do you have a lot of those weird trash plants? Probably, I imagine, which really annoy me.
They're so annoying. They're so annoying. Like, who said you could grow here? I leave the trash out for 2 seconds and it's like, nope, you have a trash plant now.
Or they get kicked over by Vlad.
You can't even get rid of it.
It's always Vlad.
Or anyone. Oh, see, I get it from anyone. It's like, you come to my house, I give you food, and you kick over my trash can. Like, that's very rude of you.
Yeah, it's always Vlad. It's like, I can't take your blood, so I'm going to kick over your trash can. But it's also like, are you kind to other sims? Do you have neighborhood brawls? And kind of all the different actions that come in the other packs. To me, it kind of seems like they almost have like plus and negative points when it comes to your reputation, which I imagine would have taken a long time to go through most of the interactions in Sims to assign this. Like, I do feel like there's a lot of work being put into this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the benefits of this reputation is you're going to get job offers on the phone to go up and down your careers. You could get blind dates set up. So if you have a good reputation, you're going to get the kind of Sims with the good traits. While bad, I imagine you probably get the evil Sims who will kind of not make you happy.
Yeah, I wonder how they're sorting good and bad. Like what is a good blind date versus a bad blind date? Like, is it by, their reputation? Is it by like traits that they already have? Is it like, ugly or like prettier Sims?
Is it, because you could have like you could say, oh, a bad blind date would be someone having like the evil trait. But if your sim has an evil trait, it's actually going to be a good date.
Right. So it might be like how much does the sim match to my personality?
Yeah. So I think that's actually going to be something I'm really going to enjoy playing with, because I used to be really bad at doing dates, but since doing like the 100 baby challenge, I've been using them a lot. Just to get up the relationships.
Because you have to.
Yeah. And then you can have your parties. So you can kind of have a roast, which I know has kind of been a popular thing. Well, as a Brit, I think of roast dinners rather than an actual kind of roast where celebrities and people get slammed by others. Or you can kind of have a nice...
I'm sorry, what is a roast in England?
Like, it's a roast dinner. They're typically on like a Sunday. So it'd be like meat, some vegetables, a Yorkshire pudding, gravy. It's like a staple over here on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we kind of have that. I don't know that we call it. We just like say Sunday dinner.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same. Like, but you either call it Sunday dinner or roast dinner.
That's fair. Yeah. I'd never heard it referred to as a lampoon party. That's what on the stream they called it. Yeah. But it's sort of like you can have a party that's basically just, here, come on over. We're going to abuse you. The idea of like a celebrity roast to me is just, I mean, they get more and more ludicrous every year. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to make like a good sim and try it. And then I'm kind of going to make a sim who's like famous, but is actually like a really bad person, and just kind of see how it differs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lots of options with gameplay there. So
yeah. And then they're going to be like physical reaction from presence of other sims. So I know like in the clips and video streams, you can see people like passing out and wanting autographs and stuff, which is pretty similar to what was in Late Night Sims 3. But I think it looks to be taken just that one step further, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I love that. That's like the little details of the game. Then it's like they didn't have to have that. But, and again, I don't know. I've said this like every episode I've been on. I'm not super well versed in coding or how all that comes together on the back end of a game. But to whatever, triggers a NPC to react a certain way to a passerby sim, I love that they thought of that, Yeah,
I feel like with this pack, there's a lot more sort of, we didn't have to do this, but we've done it, which I think is like,
and we'll get
very good.
Sorry. We will get into some of the we didn't need to do this, but we did it anyway features that are coming up just from the patch that by the time you all listen to this will have been put into effect. We're very excited about it, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Jessica, would you like to talk a little bit about the lounge events that we can look forward to?
Sure. They've got these different events for the celebrities. Like they have an awards ceremony, the Starlight Accolades. You can also do meet and greets. They have a talent showcase, which is basically like an open mic event kind of thing. And they also have the VIP rope, which they had in Sims 3, but I wasn't fully impressed. So if this is better than that, I will be so happy. And during the live stream, what they showed with the VIP rope was a bouncer brawling with a sim who tried to get in. And kind of like in Sims 3, you can bribe and schmooze to get yourself past the rope.
Yeah, I sort of remember that mechanic that's sort of like wanting to get into a certain place. Were there bouncers in the Sims 3 iteration of this? Yeah,
there were. They worked definitely the best in the late night town. Like we already discussed, like late night worked the best in the town it came from. Because if you tried to put a VIP rope anywhere else, it was just kind of broken and wonky.
I feel like with 4 in general, they've been more, open to what the players think and the feedback that they get. And they probably are understanding like, no, if this is going to work, we need it to work everywhere. If it's going to, show up, they even mentioned you can add a VIP rope to an owned lot. So either a residential owned lot or an owned business. And you have the option to hire a bouncer. but if it's placed on a non-owned lot, that the bouncer will automatically populate.
Yeah.
It'll spawn a bouncer.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's better than kind of, I feel like, I don't know if this is just because it's harder, but I feel like Pets, if you're not playing in like Brindleton, with that, I feel like any other world apart from the Pets world, technically, you don't really see pets. So I'm kind of hoping that it is a bit more complex than what that was.
Yeah, I think, and who knows, because they did say on the stream that they're not adding famous people to the other towns.
Yeah.
So, and their reasoning was like, you're already playing these stories. We don't want to inject in, fame levels on maybe some of the townies because you might have played with them and interact with them already. So I understand that. And I definitely appreciate it. But I think with the amount of, lots that they have in, it's this trade-off with the open world versus the non-open world. They can't inject in, and you have like those future game features. Yeah,
you have random NPC like townie spawns which come up that can be put into the code maybe easier than to put cats in all the worlds. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think it will be as difficult to play the new game features in worlds that aren't Del Sol Valley, which is the new location for Get Famous. But I don't think it will be as difficult as, per Sims 3. But it's keeping that idea in mind that, like, they really put the most of it in the new areas. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Also new, speaking of new, there's a new media production skill that they demoed in the Maxis Monthly, which I thought was so cool. Jess, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Were you able to watch this part?
I didn't get to watch this part, but just reading about it, this really sealed the deal for me because this is kind of what I like to do, like in my real life.
Yeah.
They said you can mix tracks and burn and create new songs. Is one song called "Don't Go Breaking My Dishwasher"?
So they were streaming and they were like, let's try a sample track. They just sort of, tested it out to show an example. And the pre-populated name was "Don't Go Breaking My Dishwasher," which that tickled me because
that is awesome.
I love the pre-named stuff. And it was, I forget which sim guru it was, but he was there, one of the programmers, and how he, wrote most of that sort of copy, like the copy and the new decision opportunities, and he writes those. And what a cool job to be able to come up with, like, oh, what's this randomly generated song gonna be? Don't Go Breaking My Dishwasher. Perfect. Beautiful.
I wish I was that good at puns.
Yeah.
See, that's my favorite thing.
I love a pun.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Like, I love seeing like how they manipulate book titles and song titles and stuff like that. Yes.
Game of Thorns.
I was literally like, what is the Game of Thrones one again?
So many good ones, though. Point Farmer. Like, it's great.
It also becomes a physical CD for your sim, and it works like if you interact with the stereo, you can hit like play song you created and play it through there. You can also play it on the DJ booth, radio station. You can play it out in public, and that'll give you some fame points. And then you can also send it to a record label, which sounds like really exciting.
Yeah. Get my mixtape out there.
You know when you play the piano scale and it goes up and that's it, licensed music. It's like that, but the fame version almost. It's like the next level of licensing a song.
Yeah, and I'm wondering like what options you get as you build that skill, and maybe the better you are at it, the higher quality your track will be, which I just love. I can't wait to explore that.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap up sort of what we've learned from the stream, there's a couple people who I'm sure are excited about certain aspects of the game, might not want everything from the game, but once you do, or if you're a completionist like I try not to be, but sometimes am, and you want to get the game, but you may not want to play by the fame mechanic, First of all, there's a way to this is sort of within the Fame gameplay, but your famous sim can put on a disguise and complete certain interactions while in disguise, so that they won't get followed by paparazzi in public, or they won't people won't have that physical reaction to them. Other sims won't point them out and say it's a famous person. That said, while in disguise, your sim will not gain fame points, so that's something to consider. But if you're just not into it in general, there's a couple ways to opt out. You'll be able to opt out just that sim. There's going to be ways to do that. Again, we'll leave this up to the review folks. There will be an option globally to just not have it running in that game save, which is, easy enough to figure out. It's within the options of your game. But there's even a way to, if you like everything else and you're just sick of the little sparkles that appear around celebrity sims, once you get to, I think it might just be A or B level. So, I don't know if it's either numbers or letters. I don't know. Once you're super famous, they get kind of sparkly, which I think is something that should be applied to me in real life all the time. I would love to just sparkle as a current human, but you can turn that off. There's a way to turn that off, and we will touch on that in a future episode, and we'll probably post some content on our social media on some tips on how to get the most out of your gameplay for Get Famous, so look out for those. And finally, some little miscellaneous changes with the new pack. Children will be able to use the mailbox now, which drove me nuts in, current gameplay, because just send your kid out to get mail. They're not going to, what's the problem? New radio station, which will be hip hop. There's going to be some new storyline pop-ups available for famous sims. The decisions that you make will affect the fame they gain or lose. There's a streaming career, as in become a famous YouTuber, which I love. And there's going to be a new fame walk style, like a snooty sort of famous walk, which again should be applied to me all the time anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the drone for the streaming. It looks really good.
Oh yeah, there's a little drone that follows you around or can follow you around to be your most authentic vlogging self. I think that's great.
Yeah, it made me laugh just watching some videos, but it doesn't follow your sim into the toilet, which that sort of little extra thing just made me be that's smart.
Yeah, they put some thought into it, which I love. Very nice and considerate that the drone doesn't follow you into the shower. It's nice. Any high points for you, Jess?
Some privacy.
Yeah, some semblance of privacy.
Yeah. I'm just really looking forward to, because I really do want to get this now, and I really just want to test out all the new, just pretty much everything. It just all looks so good.
I know. I'm really excited. there's my problem with being a completionist is that I often get the game and don't even explore everything that it has to offer. But I think kind of now that I've been paying attention to all this, I'm going to really try to just gameplay every crevice of what this is going to have to offer. So I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
So switching gears a little bit, at the top of Maxis Monthly, they did cover some other housekeeping items of some stuff coming up. By the time you listen to this, the patch will have come through. Hopefully you were able to reset all of your custom content and move it and back it up before everything exploded. Hopefully you have it all back now and are not weeping over your computer while you listen to this podcast, lamenting the loss of your favorite outfits and other mods. I wish you the best. Rebecca, would you like to cover some of the other things that we can expect from this new patch?
Yeah, I'm just laughing because I'm the person with over 1,000 CC, and the normal CC should be fine, but I have quite a few script mods, so I'm gonna have to search them all back out.
Yep.
But the updates, which I'm not so big on Sims free play, but I do have it, and I do have Sims Mobile, so I can talk about this. So the free play one, not the mobile. They're gonna bring out sort of an augmented reality AR idea, which I think I've seen when I logged on a few days ago, but I didn't give it a go because I don't know, maybe I just have an old iPhone. You're also going to have a screenshot button, which I'm hoping will be a bit like what it is on kind of when you're playing it on your laptop, because I know if I'm trying to take screenshots for social media on my phone, that you kind of have all the extras out on the screen, not just kind of what's happening, which was annoying when I was trying to sort things out for Halloween and take pretty pictures, that you had the needs and wants all around. And then they're also going to be bringing out the idea of holidays again, which kind of fits into the fact that Seasons is coming out on console and it's rolling out everywhere else. And then Sims Mobile, they have just finished the Halloween challenge, but I'm in the middle of the dance instructor's career at the moment. I have a few hours left, but I don't know if it starts from when you kind of log on, so it might be over by this point, but I'm slowly making my way through the dance instructor career, where you gain the career for free and you also get extras like some clothing. And now they also open the applications for the game changers for Sims Mobile. It's obviously, everyone would love to be a Sims game changer, I think. You get to go to like the Sims camps and try out everything before everyone else, which I'm very jealous of. I would really like to be ahead of the game. The Sims Mobile has also been nominated for the Google Fan Favorite Game of 2018. So I would go and vote if I was you. And Jessica, do you want to talk about the patches and console?
Sure. For this patch, they did say that there will be an increased number of saves. There are some bug fixes, community creations, and some spooky stuff coming out on the console.
Yeah, it didn't even really cross my mind. I'm not a mobile player, so it didn't really occur to me that like the packs, the stuff that's available for PC and computers, so yeah, PC, are not available for console players. So we're planning on having an episode coming up. We actually got some fan mail. We got a message from someone who listens to the show asking about a console focused episode coming up, and I don't have a ton to contribute to it, but we are rounding up those in our podcasting circles who play on console, and I'm looking forward to just kind of getting that very new to me perspective on how to play Sims, because I think I tried the only other console version of The Sims I've ever tried to play was like The Sims Herbs. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. Is it Herbs and Busting Out were like the two?
Yeah. It was like, it had to be like 2002. And I remember getting it from, get ready for this, I rented it from Blockbuster. Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's how old I am. And that was like a weekend where my mom let me get it. And I was like, cool, I'm in the city. And this is nothing like regular. It was so like structured. Like I had to do everything that was asked of me, which I thought was, I don't know, it was very weird.
Yeah, and Seasons will be out for the console by the time this episode goes out. It's coming out on the 13th of November. I have been posting about it on some of our social media, and a lot of people are excited for it. So it'd be good to kind of get the reaction for that as well.
All right, Rebecca, would you like to talk about the newest learned addition to the early November patch that we've been so excited about talking about? We've covered the terrain. We've talked about the new style influencer career. But could you give us a little tidbit about the unexpected feature we're getting?
Well, one, the expected feature is the bug fixes, which I am so happy about. My game is so laggy that I have to keep cheating just to stop my toddlers getting taken away from me.
Yep.
But I am so excited about the first person mode. It is such... The only way I can describe it is it's so extra. Like, we didn't need to have this. It is not a game that needs a first person mode. But I was like, just the idea that the guru was like, I'm just gonna go home and try this, see if I can do it. And then brought it to work and they were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. It's going to be for your Sims, your toddlers, even to pets. You're going to be able to control your Sim. You can walk in first person. You can still interact with everything. I would say if you do get motion sickness, it might not be the best thing to play it for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was the person that when it came out, I kind of was doing like the wicked hand sort of thing and being like, wicked whims. Wicked whims. What is going to happen with this?
Yeah.
That was like the first thing on everyone's mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we're messed up people.
Just like when you were watching it, you had the chat down the side and everyone was like, Wicked Whims, Wicked Whims. What's going to happen with Wicked Whims in this? And it was almost like you could see them reading it, but obviously they didn't want to touch on it because it's not kind of something that they probably want to be like, yes, you can have this add-on where Sims can have wild sex everywhere.
Yep.
But I think like they must have tried so hard not to laugh.
Oh my God.
But all you have to do is like shift and it will go into the first person mode.
Shift tab, I believe.
Oh yeah, shift tab and then shift click to do something within that mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so excited.
Yeah. I mean, aside from the very wicked things that I'm sure will be done with this feature, definitely there was a discussion among us podcasters talking about how the poses for Sims 4 have been sort of lacking, like the poses that you can get that's custom poses that you can download and have your sim pose into. Marissa, our fellow podcaster, made all of the lovely poses, the portraits, so to speak, of our hosts that are on our Facebook site and our website. There haven't been as many available as there were for Sims 3. So I think that this, for me at least, is going to be a way to sort of have a really like a nice on the level screenshot ability to sort of catch Sims in action much more so than, viewing from above. So it's an interesting, different way to play. Also, that said, I think I'm going to play with it for like 2 seconds and then it's going to get really old and I'm going to like never touch it again. But I'm excited for it.
I was laughing along with them over like, the creepy vampire wall. When they were showing that, I was like, this is going to be so funny. And then it was just like, I'm just petting the cat. I do think it kind of will be like maybe like a novelty, like I'm having a bad day, so I'm going to play in like the first person for like 5-10 minutes just to cheer me up.
Yeah. Just walk around as your sim. The other thing I forgot to bring up is I think it's going to be great for home walkthroughs because I'm getting more and more into building, not doing anything particularly exciting or impressive, but I'm enjoying it more and more. And so to be able to have a sim that's sort of your first person camera to walk through a house build or a commercial lot build that you've created, that I think is another sort of unexpected plus for this. And I mean, they must have gone through all of the potential upsides of actually adding this feature that started out as really like a joke almost. Like, what if we just added this in and then here we are?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I probably will be like, yay, I want to play this. And then after a few minutes be like, I feel sick, especially when they were showing it on the rock climbing. I was like, oh,
the swing.
Yeah. But I do think it's probably just going to be one of those sort of, I'm having a bad day, this will cheer me up and I'll go on it. The thing is though, the guy could have worked out that he could have showed it and they didn't have to include it in the patch for free, and they did. And I just think it's that sort of giving the fans that extra sort of thing. So I do see a lot of fans like online complaining about like having to pay for all the stuff packs and stuff, but we have got quite a lot still in the patches, and the Sims still have to pay everyone that's behind the scenes. So I think the fact that they're giving something like this and also the terrain for free is still a big deal.
Yeah. I think the terrain, I mean, I would argue that the terrain, that's the sort of thing that like should have been in the base game sort of thing. But I mean, for something like this to be, from my understanding, kind of a big lift to add into a game, I think it's interesting that they're giving it for free. I think it's good. And I think I would say for Sims 4 or just the current, culture in, Sims and Maxis and the relationship to the players, it's been more and more like, oh, this is a thing that, we should just give you guys instead of making you pay for every microtransaction. And it goes probably without saying that EA does not have the best reputations with microtransactions, but for our community, I feel like we do okay. There's add-ons and new features of the game, and yes, you're paying a lot for each, separate iteration of this game, but it also goes to the fact that it's an ever-growing game. It's content that continues to build. So I don't know.
And I don't think it's quite as bad as 3. Like, going back to playing Sims 3 after kind of not touching it for years, just kind of like having to pay extra just for a world, or just for having to buy Sims points for a top, is just kind of a bit crazy for me. Like, I kind of forgot how that was very much, and I kind of still see the arguments a little bit, but I think looking back to how it was with 3, at least you know how to pay for like an extra top with 4.
Yeah.
Apart from kind of what's in a pack.
Jess, do you want to speak to that a little bit since you play 3?
Yeah, that is one thing that annoys me, is if I don't like any of the stuff that came with the games, I have to buy it to add it in. And it's just annoying. So that's really cool about Sims 4. I'm actually looking forward to that too.
Pull the trigger. Come to the dark side.
I gotta do it.
We have cookies.
So yeah, overall, I'm just really hype about this game. Any final thoughts from you guys?
I'm very, very excited about this. I was excited for seasons, and I was excited for pets. The rest, I was kind of a bit like meh with, because I don't really use restaurants or stores. I just feel like there are a lot of faff. But I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to, by the looks of things, there's going to be big differences to the gameplay. It's going to be one of those sort of expansion packs that brings so much. So I'm very looking forward to it.
Jess?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of like you. I don't explore every aspect of each like little expansion, but this one I think I could definitely see myself getting and exploring every little item I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they didn't give us cars in this one.
But I'm already coming up with like plot lines.
Oh yeah,
for what we're gonna get, which I don't think I've actually done with the other expansion packs.
Yeah, I forget who among our podcasters was talking about this. Was it Julia, who's kind of, or maybe Rebecca, it was you, who's kind of building a sim already to sort of prep for the new pack and is going to make her famous?
It wasn't me, because I've been spending a lot of time doing makeovers, but that's only because I can't deal with how laggy and glitchy the game is at the moment. But yeah, I'm kind of coming up with ideas. Like, I want to make a sort of Kanye West celebrity sim, and then I kind of want to make a sort of really preppy, popular, perfect sim, and just kind of see how those sort of, like, you have a controversial celebrity sim and see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then kind of have the perfect sort of sim.
Lots of opportunities, lots of different options we're going to have. So yeah, I can't wait. So I think that does it for this episode of the Social Bunny team's contribution to Under the Plum Bob podcast. Thank you all so much for listening in. You can find us on all of the social media things: Plum Bob Cast on Instagram and Twitter, Plum Bob Podcast on Reddit, Under the Plum Bob Podcast on Facebook and Tumblr, and our website is undertheplumbob.com. Please subscribe to us, rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play. We are now on all of these outlets, so please find us. Please give us your feedback. Don't just like rate us 5 stars. Like, we want to hear what you think of us. I mean, like, rate us 5 stars because we're great, but we want to hear from you. You can email us at undertheplumbobpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again so much for all of our writers and researchers who put their time into building our scripts for us that we get to tell you all about, all the news about the Sims world. I'm Melissa.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Rebecca.
And that's been us. Now back to the real world. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, that took a while.
Badish. Dag dag.